guy gave the shout out. All right, I think we might be live. I'm not sure. You know how this goes. It's like I never know when I'm live because it takes a delay. All right, I'm almost certain we're live. So, not financial advice, blah blah blah. You know the whole bullshit. But okay. All right, so YouTube changed their shit around. It looks like I'm live. I think I'm live. Nobody's watching, and that's fine because I'm just chilling, having a good time. Let me see if I can give people the link. All right, yep, we are live. Okay, so YouTube. There we go. I'm loud as fuck too. Holy shit. We are live. Come through. And talk shit coins. The SHILL N CHILL 2020. Here with the homie Shavi. Say what's up to the people.
Hey there.
So Shavi, I kind of put him on the spot. This was not planned. Called up Shavi like, yo, come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's go live. And
I was actually watching James Bond when you called me.
James Bond. Which one?
The last one. I figured that I actually never watched it.
Who's your favorite James Bond? You got to start with Casino Royale. That one was very good. I enjoyed that one.
I watched this one. I remember this one.
Yeah, Casino Royale is good. I don't know what happened to James Bond. It was like, I don't know. Movies kind of suck these days, really. There's not like many original movies anymore. Everything is like part 3, part 4, part 5, and it's like, fucking somebody make a Pulp Fiction already, you know? Like can somebody make Pulp Fiction, please? You know, like make a fucking movie that's original, that isn't like a reboot or whatever, you know? So like, there's this guy. Have you seen Brawl in Cell Block 99? Have you seen that?
No, it doesn't ring a bell.
Okay, so that movie is fucking awesome. All right, that movie is the shit, and the director is really good. Let me see. There we go.
Oh wait.
This.
Are you talking about? No.
Craig Zahler. Craig Zahler. That's the name of the director. He's awesome. That guy's awesome. Yeah, man. What's up? Kalo, Bobby Boucher, Don Bitcoins, Mario G. Yep. Got some loyal people, man. I'm in a good mood. People are showing love now. I know it's not too many. There's a lot of haters still. You know, there's always some guy that pops up in my YouTube comments like a week later and like talk shit about like cash or something. And I'm like, why the fuck am I even bothering doing YouTube? Like, if you watched YouTube this year, like, at the end of the day, like, this is real talk. Like, you could have, like, probably 50x your portfolio, not for nothing. Like, the shit that we've covered in these YouTube videos, like we were talking about Uniswap before anybody, really. Like, I literally went on Cointelegraph and was like, hey, Uniswap reminds me of EtherDelta. You should learn how to use this. Because the people who learn how to use it now are going to be able to dump on the people who FOMO in later. And, like, they looked at me like I had two heads, you know? Like, at the end of the day, like, the amount of actual actionable items that we've released on these streams is very, very high compared to, like, these other motherfuckers. And, you know, I did it without even having to show you anything, really. Like, I try not to talk about, like, stuff that's low cap. I've made high cap trades and overall market trades, you know, basically telling you get the fuck out of BTC at 9,600. And, like, don't bother with this, just trade alts. Like, that was in May. If you traded alts from May to July, like, BTC did nothing. It just went sideways and took your Bitcoins. If you were trading high leverage, it took you. And during that time, that was basically the bottom on alts, and alts just rocketed. Most of them did 2x or better. And as soon as Bitcoin hits 9,000, we have the Twitter hack. Who was there to say, hey, now let's pay attention to Bitcoin. Let's get into Bitcoin and get the fuck out of alts? Me, okay? So people still want to talk about shit from 2017, and that bothers me. But at the end of the day, people are starting to show love. So that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like it's all worth it, and that's why I'm here streaming on a Friday night when I got better shit to do. But in fact, I enjoy this. I love it. Like, if I'm not doing a stream, because I was supposed to do on Wednesday, and I've been doing them every Wednesday. But we happened to do a dojo call. We were on a conference call for 4 hours, and I was enjoying it. So I'm like, fuck this. I'm not going to do the stream. I'm just going to talk with the guys. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, this is a very enjoyable time to be in markets, for sure. But, you know, will that last? How long does that last? It doesn't always last forever, right, Xavi?
It doesn't. I mean, the market is forever, but the easy money, the volatility is you have to chase it.
Yes.
From one market to the next.
Yes, absolutely. That's why, you know, like if you see, like, I've been getting into stocks as well. There have been calls made, like, publicly. But, you know, fuck, man, I wish I knew about options earlier. I only started trading them recently, somewhat recently. I was trading spot. But, like, had I made an option play on, like, for instance, the airlines, like Southwest, basically called the bottom on that with a 2x target, which hit, and that was the top. You know, the entry was between 22 and 25. Put that out on Twitter. Target is $40, went right to $40. Shockwave dump right there. Like, that's the fucking trade. Have you trade that with options, you can make like a 50x off a move like that. It's pretty crazy.
You also called the Smile Direct Club, right? It was like $4. You said it's going to 10. It went right to 10.
Like, if you trade those on options, like, you guys don't understand. That's why I'm trying to, like, wake some of the crypto people up, because once you learn TA, like, you don't need to, like, just be in crypto. Like, you can make money all the time. So, you know, definitely don't sleep on that. Like, it's pretty crazy what's going on. And we'll talk about some stocks too, but, you know, right now I have BTC's chart up. Oh yeah, and back to Rumble and Cell Block 99. Xavi, you got to check that movie out. That guy is fucking awesome. His first movie is called, the director is called Bone Tomahawk. So if you guys have seen that one, that movie is intense. One of the most intense scenes I've ever seen in a movie, man. And when you watch it, you'll know which one I'm talking about. Like, I was watching it by myself, like, kind of chilling during the afternoon, and, like, this scene came on. I was totally unprepared for it. I was not prepared for what was about to happen. And, like, when I say this scene was intense, like, it, like, gives you, like, a physical reaction. It's that fucked up.
Okay, I'll watch it tonight, maybe.
Yeah. Bone Tomahawk is intense. But this guy, like, he's, like, old school, man. And he's just, like, writing, like, stories, you know, making movies. The dialogue is good. The stories are good. It's refreshing. It's, like, old school. Most of the movies I watch are you know, Marvel or, you know, redos of old movies these days, you know? So the movies are the Craig Zahler series. You should watch all of them, honestly. If you're sick of watching the same, like, Hollywood bullshit, watch Rumble and Cell Block 99. That movie is fucking awesome. Vince Vaughn is such a badass in that movie. You couldn't believe it. I'm telling you. He killed it. His first movie is called Bone Tomahawk. That's a Western. And it's about, like, you could start with Rumble and Cell Block 99. Because that movie is so good. But Bone Tomahawk's really good too. It's a Western with it's like a Western horror flick kind of with cannibals, and it's fucking awesome. That movie's awesome. And then you have Dragged Across Concrete, which has Vince Vaughn as well, and Mel Gibson plays a racist cop. Imagine that. You know, perfect casting. So all three of those movies are very good. If I had to rank them, I'd put them Rumble number 1, Bone Tomahawk 2, and Dragged Across Concrete 3. But all of them are good. It's refreshing. If you're, like, you know, like in your 30s and you kind of miss the old days, definitely recommend checking them out. I mean, this guy, he's gonna be very popular in my opinion. Like, people compare him to Tarantino. I don't think it's exactly the same kind of thing, but I guess I understand the comparison because he's making original content, his dialogue's good, and, you know, he's not pulling any punches in these movies. Pretty fucking cool. Yeah, big stretch for Mel. Racist cop. Yeah, perfect casting. Anyway, all right, so let's look at the charts. BTC Obviously, if you were watching the streams, this is the area, literally this wick right here. My entry was $9,062. That was, if you zoomed in, it was like literally the tip of the spear. And people were asking me, yeah, why are you scalping? I'm like, listen, motherfucker, I'm not scalping. Like, I think this is going to break the top of the range here. Pretty clear. At that point in time, Bitcoin was the biggest lagging risk asset. VIX, which is basically giving you the amount of fear in the market, is looking bearish as hell. S&P and NASDAQ had already made all-time high. SPX was chugging along. So gold, silver, basically everything is going up, and Bitcoin is kind of in this large shock wave here. So you have the Twitter hack and that bullshit, and it can't break 9K. So I'm like, all right, let's try it. Let's try it here. At that point, you start to see Bitcoin dominance flare up. And, you know, frankly, like a call like that, you got to understand the significance of that. If you're able to get into a long on BTC at 9K or even mid 9Ks, because the other level we were talking about was 94.80. So it closed above 9,500. And like right here, this whole range right here, there's no excuse for you to not be in here. So you have this kind of like W type formation, and we zoom in a little bit, right? Like this is very clear. This is, it breaks up again. Each time it takes out these levels, and then you have one last one here, pop up, another bull flag, breaks out, another one. I mean, like at what point do you get in it? I'm watching people short this or fade it the whole time. People were completely paralyzed. But at the end of the day, you know, Bitcoin was the lagging risk asset there, and dollar is falling off a cliff. There is no reason why this shouldn't have done what it did. So that brings us to where we are now and what we're going to do about it, right? So looking at this, it does kind of remind me, because 10.5 was such a significant level to breach that clearly when we break above this, so you have this crash cycle here, right? And then you have the bear market with a crazy capitulation down here, starts to steeply recover, makes this wave, and then breaks above. This is decidedly bullish. However, it reminds me of kind of this in a different way, because this area, in essence, is like this. You know, this and that are kind of similar. So this right here is this, right? And then it breaks out. As soon as it crosses over this $6,000 neckline, you know, you get the pump and you get this structure right here. I know this chart just got really messy really quick, but bear with me. You know what? Let me delete all that so you guys can see. But basically, you have this area here. You see how let's see. So basically 10.5 was retested on this wick. So like this candle, this daily candle here, is kind of, this one does the same, accomplishes the same thing basically, because this goes down to 6,400. I remember very clearly when that happened. It was a full moon, happened super quick. After like 8,300, dumps down here, retests the neckline really quickly. Guess what? This is the neckline right here, 10.5. Okay, so oops, I'll put it right there. So we just did that. We just did this part. So now it's kind of like, and it doesn't have to do exactly the same thing, but you know, you can get a pop up and then a revisit down here. Like I'm not too certain. I would expect, if this is to kind of mimic this type of price action, the pop would be to about 14K, right? So we break this high. If you break 12K again, like if we go over, let's put it this way, if we go over 12, my expectation is that we would go to at least 14, perhaps even higher. But 14 makes sense, like right here, 13.5. Like the bottom line is, if you're trading on leverage on MEX and it breaks this, you don't want to short right away. Like you probably want to just FOMO market buy if you're not already in a position. If you're in a position and it revisits down here like 10.9 or something like that, and you long that, and then it breaks the top, you just move your stop up a bit. That's what I would do in that scenario. And if you're flat and it breaks above, do not stand in the way of what comes next. You pretty much do not short. If you don't want to long, that's okay, but be careful with your alts because they will lose versus BTC on that move. I would be looking between 13.5 and 14K in that scenario, and then for it to retrace and kind of come back down here again, and then we'll see what happens in that scenario. But that's pretty much the way I'm seeing it. It reminds me very much of the 2019 breakout over 6K. Even from sentiment perspective, it feels very similar. So yeah, that's pretty much what I see on BTC. But BTC isn't the only thing that's exciting, right? Shabi, anything you want to add to BTC? Are you not even trading BTC these days?
I'm not.
Yeah, you don't care.
I'm holding some, so I'm watching it.
Yeah. Okay. So comp, this one was one we called this one a couple days ago. Got pretty lucky with the entry. 126.50 approximately. So that was like basically here. This is where we got in. And it was kind of, it was on this wick here. So on the way up, it was basically like, yeah, buy this. But what I saw here, and this isn't even the full chart, but basically you have a similar thing where this is the base. And, this is your base. And this gets really tight. So that kind of lets you know that the move is coming. And as soon as, when you get this and it becomes a very tight range and a downtrend at support, as soon as the support breaks, you can pretty much, like, there's no reason for you to be in a long position there, because the move that follows is always going to be a bad one. And you can kind of, and you can use this on anything really, but like for example, if you're looking at BTC, see right here, same thing. It's in a big downtrend, gets really tight. As soon as this floor right here breaks, see, this is clearly a support level, right? As soon as that breaks, you get the bear market. So comp was no different. Gets really tight, falls off a cliff. This is like you can FOMO short that. You can, and you can make money. And then, but what you get at the bottom of it is you get a low, and this time it actually made a lower low. That's rare. Usually this one, the second one, ends up either double bottoming or a little bit higher. This one happened to sweep it. Maybe because it was on Binance leverage, and you get some fuckery on there. But basically, at the end of the day, this ended up being a wick, and this kind of level here. This ended up holding, right? That. Pardon my squiggly lines. I'm drinking the Macallan 15, so my dexterity is a little bit affected right now. But the bottom line is this.
I really like your. Sorry.
What?
I say that I really like your MAs on that chart. Like what happened on August 5th. That's very clean. Like a break above the orange MA, right into resistance on the next one, and then a bullish retest, and then just hinge his way up.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. There was many different signs. I mean, and literally on stream, as this move is happening, and you guys I could go find the tape, but I don't care. But as this is happening, people are like, "What do we do about comp?" And I'm like, "This will probably bull trap people at $200. It'll go back to 200, and then it's gonna fall off a fucking cliff." And here it went to 220. It actually ran 200, went to 220. This is the bull trap, and then boom. Gets tight, really falls off a cliff, goes to almost $100. Really bad. So where are we now? We've made two lows. This is held, and it started to put together a bullish structure. So we put in to the daily. It looks even better. Plus you have the volume spike, which is very, very good. Volume is rising. We're now at the neckline. I would expect something like I don't know. Like it can go a little bit higher and then do something like this, something like that, maybe even tighter. And then you're going to see this take off. So like these are the next two levels for me. You know what? Actually, comp, I want to do comp USD. No, this isn't the right chart. This isn't the right one. It's this. Yeah. No, I don't know. Maybe not. There was I feel like there was another chart that I was looking at, but nevertheless, pretty much right here is a level, and then right around here, next level. So these are kind of your targets. So if you start to see this happen, and it's like doing something like that, and then it breaks out, as soon as it like right here, you could start to long, because it'll probably do another structure and then take off. Like, you don't need to FOMO in right now. There might even be a trade to be made, but it's not great because there should be some sort of pullback coming relatively soon. It can go higher. It can go up to like here, 175, something like that, and then start to pull back. And then when it starts to pull back and then it takes off and invalidates this, that's when you can just like kind of long pretty safely and be able to structure your risk very well. Yeah, Paul Meister, I'm looking fit. Yeah, no, man, I'm telling you, I've been working out. I feel great. I haven't been drinking, but I'm drinking tonight because fuck it, I wanted to. But I'm not one of those people that's like, yeah, I'm never gonna drink again. Like, that's not happening. But I just need to chill a little bit, and kind of get into shape. My smoking is good. At the end of the day, like, huh?
Non-smoking, should we say?
Yeah, no smoking. No smoking, and barely any drinking. But it's a Friday, and I had a great week, so I felt like treating myself a little bit. So, it's one of those things where you get older, and I was lucky. Like, I always had good genetics, really. I never got fat at all, and I would always kind of like eat like a pig. I drank plenty of beer. Xavi knows about that. Puerto Rico, I was drinking plenty of beer, but never really got fat because I was always going to the gym. I would go to the gym like 5 or 6 times a week for like 10 years. And before that, I've been doing push-ups and pull-ups in my house since I was like 7 years old. And, I wrestled and I played sports. I played all sorts of sports, and I was always very athletic, played a lot of basketball, pickup games. So I always had a six-pack, and I kind of took it for granted. But with COVID, I stopped going to the gym. And I thought I was going to work out at home, but I was just kind of being lazy, frankly. I wasn't feeling good. This COVID shit is tough. It was a depressing time and scary. And, at the end of the day, I was just in the house doing nothing and drinking heavily. And I looked in the mirror one day. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I've never looked like this. And, like, by, like, all standards for a 35-year-old guy, it's not like it was that bad. But it just wasn't what I was used to, I looked kind of sloppy. And I didn't like it. So I decided I'm going to start doing my calisthenic shit again. So I go to this park, and they have like pull-up bars and all sorts of monkey bars and shit. So I'm doing like push-ups, pull-ups, dips. I bought some resistance bands. I have a Poland Spring machine with like the Poland Spring bottle, and I do curls and shrugs with the Poland Spring thing. And I'm just like not drinking and kind of I cut out soda. And within 2 weeks, I'm like almost back to normal. I feel great. So, just try to motivate people. It can be done. You don't need a gym. You can get into good shape. Like, at the end of the day, when I go to the gym, I'm working out hard. It's hard work. I put it in for like an hour and in the heat, and I'm sweating like crazy. But, if you want to get into shape, that's what it takes, man. Yeah, I got to do this work. That's it. So, and from like an emotional and even for trading, like I feel a million times better now that I'm working out again. Like, really, it's great. Yeah. Wealth is health. Wealth without health is irrelevant. Yeah, 100%, man. So I feel fantastic. I started taking these black seed oil pills and sea moss. I'm not sure what it does. I don't know. But this guy said it was like the elixir of the gods or some shit. They was talking about how like gods took it, and some other guy said it'll increase your circulation and it heals everything. Like, when you look at the reviews on this thing, it's hard to say because the people reviewing it are like, yeah, it changed my life. I feel better, and it fixed this and it fixed that. But like, you don't really know what it does. Like, nobody really says what it actually does.
I'm actually going to Google this thing.
Yeah, Google it. Somebody said you'll be hard all the time. So that was kind of like, I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll try it. I'll take all the help I can get. Yeah, like it's good for like your sexual prowess per se. But I haven't noticed any increase yet. But we'll see. We'll see. I only took it for a few days, so I eat meat all the time. I'm a big meat eater. Big meat eater. So, well, what? I said that's so weird. Meat eater. Yeah. Meat eater. It's my Korean side. Are any of you guys watching? Are you guys fans of, do you guys know Bitcoin Fund Manager, the Korean guy? Shavi, you know him, right? Of course.
I don't know if he's a legend status.
I didn't say he was a legend. I just said, do you know him?
He's famous, let's say.
Infamous. Infamous is the word. But I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a stream with him. I'm not shy about saying that I'm fascinated by the man, because it's like they're like they're like blogs dedicated to his scams, like he's done many scams, and at the end of the day, like he's literally like I made this tweet. Some people gave me shit. Most people thought it was funny, but it's real. Is like, how like black people like didn't want to like see something bad happen to OJ. They wanted OJ to be innocent, even though everybody kind of knew he wasn't innocent. It was like, fuck it, I'm rooting for OJ. This guy is like Korean OJ to me. Like I know it's bad, but I don't care because he's a fucking Korean guy, and I just can't. I mean, like, how do you do so much and like he's still like, it's like he's a mixture of OJ and Catch Me If You Can, right? And you ever see that movie Catch Me If You Can, where the guy like he's a scammer though. If you love the guy, you're watching it, but he's literally scamming people, and like he's probably a piece of shit, but he's such a fucking amazing scammer that you have to admire him and you don't want him to get caught. So like it's kind of like a cross of him and OJ for me is this guy, because when I first got into crypto and YouTube, I was looking at him, like I saw his videos and I was like, look at this motherfucker. He had like mad screens and like the way he talked, like it was just like look at, I know he's making money. I know this guy's getting people, but like at the end of the day, he did call like the top in 2018. He did. I remember he was bearish at like 12K or something. He was like, this shit is over. He was one of the only people that was bearish, and he does make good calls, like as good as anybody else. Like I've seen other people on Twitter making calls, like sometimes he's horribly wrong like anybody else. I mean, that can happen. Nobody's 100% right, but it's just I kind of want to talk to him. I want to talk to him. And
I wonder if he's watching us now.
He might be. He's always been supportive of me. That's another reason I like him. But, it's one of those things, like, if I interact with him on Twitter, people will be like, he's a scammer, right? I'm like, you don't say. I never heard this. Like, how could you not, like, that guy's a scammer. And they'll tag that big-ass blog. And I'm like, like, no shit. He's the guy, but I don't know, like. I want to talk to him, and the interview, if he's watching, like I talked to him like, yo, you want to do a stream? I think he's down, but like it's not going to be like a bullshit stream, like we're going to keep it real. So I think it'll be interesting content. But like if you're watching out there, like I'm not pulling punches, like we're going to talk about real shit. So we're not going to pretend. It's not pretend. I can't just pretend like none of this is out there. I need to know. Yeah, I'm not sending him any BTC. No, definitely not. But, like, he gets a bad rap, like, because people impersonated him, and then they sent those scammers the BTC, and they blamed him. They're like, I sent some guy BTC, and he didn't give me any tips or anything. Like, well, it wasn't me, motherfucker. Like, some guy scammed you. Some scammer impersonating another scammer scammed the scammer. No. You know what I'm saying. Like, it's a crazy fucking world we live in. Let's put it that way, At the end of the day, this shit is crazy. So looking at comp, yeah, I gave you that. The entry was 126.50. Pretty fucking good, right? I must say. Like, and it's pretty dope. Like I was saying, people are showing love. Like, I know somebody in the group that like the guy took the trade with size, and like there's a couple people did really well with this one. It's not even over yet, really. But when people are making money, like it's a magical place, crypto, and bottom line is, we're having fun. So Monster, that was another one that I had tweeted about multiple times. I told you, watch out for this earnings. Of course, the earnings is good. Everybody I know is drinking this fucking Monster, and the chart just screams bullish to me. So this was a good one. Like I said, it's only like, I got in like around like here in this wave right here. Yeah, see right here. This is where I got in. Around $70. It went to 83. So it's like 20%. But like the option contracts I got, they're up like 450%, 500%. So if you catch a 20% move with options, you can make 5x, or more, probably more. If you took a more aggressive contract, you could have made more. Mine was expiring in September, but if I had expiries like sooner, it would have been 10x or better. So yeah, exactly, Paul Meester. I would love to hear his story. Me too. I want to hear his story. That's what the bottom line is with him. Sorry to jump around. But Monster, I think this can go to $100. Looks their earnings report was extremely strong, but we'll see what happens with that. Something that's playing out right now. Wait, how do I spell that? Pfizer. PFE. Yeah, that's right. So this one is in like a big ass bull flag from up here. So let's see. Yeah. Basically like that.
I like the current bull flag above the daily MA here.
Yep.
And the fact that it's kind of doing this shockwave, trying to get to your trend line. That would be like the target, and altogether it would still be like contained within the flag, right?
You also have this is like the neckline here, so breaks through. You're looking at like $43, but that would also invalidate this trend line, and the volume spike here is interesting. Their earnings isn't till November. But I know they just partnered with Gilead on some COVID shit. And the bottom line is, looking at this, if you don't have to even play this right now, but in my opinion, if it gets over like this wave here and like you see it like $40, I don't think it stops here. Like the next area to look is up here, like 43. So that's like a good 10% away from where it is now, even more, slightly more, like 12%. But it can completely like break through this entire thing and then just kind of go in a different trajectory. So, right now you don't necessarily, I'm speculating here that it will break out of this, but you don't even have to. You can wait. Obviously, the reward will be less if you wait until like up here or above there. But, this is one worth keeping an eye on, in my opinion.
You could play from here to the trend line.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm in contracts with a $40 strike. So my thought process is if it gets over 40, like it'll probably go at least 10% above. And those contracts are going to print. They're going to print, like for sure. So we'll see. You also have the gap right here at 40. So like if it fills this gap up to here, like basically you're just going above the trend line, then you can make a bull flag and then kind of arch out that direction. So, that's how I'm playing this. This like 41.28 area is kind of like a decent short-term target, and that's about 10%, a little bit more. So, or no, about 10%. But with options, that's a good trade. So, we'll see. We'll keep an eye on that. Overall, this looks good. We're through the gap. It's kind of coiling up. One thing I want to ask you, what do you make actually of the fact that the volume is just kind of falling off a cliff here, right? So we're kind of like at this stage. So we can kind of pop through, make a new high, but I think we're getting close to a time where we need to be careful in all risk assets. And some people are watching this and they're like, oh, why is he doing stocks? But the reality is, like, when I make Bitcoin calls as well as alts, like, I pay attention to this at all times. It matters. It matters. So, I was able to call the bottom on Bitcoin. I was not just looking at Bitcoin. I was looking at dollar, and I was looking at equities. And that's how I make the call. You want as much information as possible. And if you're just like, oh, I only do crypto or I only trade altcoins, like, you're not getting the full picture. So I would suggest that you start to get familiar with other markets and kind of take everything. You want to get as much data as possible before you make a decision, because everything is kind of intertwined. Bob MK asked, when's dojo openings? We've set it up so you can enter anytime you want. So if you wanted to join the dojo, you would go to kjcryptodojo.com and registration, and you'll be in within an hour. Kayla, Messi was talking about this last night on stream. Bearish sentiment, gaps, and so on. Oh, I missed that one. Messi was a great guest. I really enjoyed doing it with him. He's much better than Xavi. I mean, Xavi doesn't say much.
You don't let me talk.
Just kidding. But Xavi was completely unprepared. I literally kind of strong-armed him into doing this stream. So
I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun.
You're having fun? I promised him it would be fun. Like, we could talk about anything, really. But it's more fun when I have somebody to talk to. I don't love doing these by themselves because I feel like a bear on a bicycle. You know what I'm saying? Like, the guys are like, look at this chart. Tell us about this chart. Tell us about that one. And like, I just feel like I'm like, dancing. Dance, motherfucker. Like, I don't like it. But if I have somebody that I'm here to talk to, I really enjoy it. Yeah, is Chris still around in the dojo? Yeah, absolutely. Chris is there. Chris is coding like a pretty crazy bot right now. Like, he's been working on this for like a year, maybe longer. So, I'm really excited about that one, actually. If that one works like we planned, I mean, you might not see me again, truth be told, like, because we really don't have to do anything, right? Go.
Looks amazing.
Let's talk about Christian Bale movies.
I just watched one yesterday.
Which one?
Vice, the one I told you, Vice. So Vice was made by the same crew that made The Big Short, right?
Okay. Oh, Vice. And, Vice. It was about Dick Cheney, right?
Yeah, that guy. Mm-hmm. Was very interesting. I mean, I had no clue about this dude. So. But what he created and what he allowed and the whole,
not a good guy.
No, not the best.
Not the best person.
But was interesting to see and to watch, and was what put together. Mm-hmm. And Christian Bale just plays amazing. Like, he nailed the role. And
he's a great actor. I liked him. I mean, I pretty much like him in everything. Like, that movie Equilibrium, remember that one? That was an older movie. It's kind of like, if you haven't seen that, that's kind of like a dystopian George Orwell kind of vibe. Yeah. It's crazy. Like, if you've read 1984, like, I remember reading it in high school, but like back in around like shortly after 9/11, I remember looking back to it and thinking like, Jesus, like, we're getting close. Like, it kind of, and in college I actually wrote a paper. This was in like 2005, something like that, comparing 1984 to where we are now. And remember, in 1984 there was like this guy, he was like a Jew, I think, but like he was always the enemy, and whatever country he was in was like the enemy country, and then we go to war with that country. And it was like he was kind of like the Osama bin Laden figure. Remember, it was like, oh, Osama's in Afghanistan, all right, let's bomb the shit out of them. And it was like, all right, where is he now? But back in 2005, it really kind of, the way the world was turning was reminding me of 1984. Then we go like, 15 years later, like, we're really fucking there. Like, this, even your refrigerator is listening to you now. And it's blatant, and it's like, they don't give a fuck. Like, freedom of speech, fake news, like, all this shit is real, and it's exposed, and you can't really do anything about it. Like, it's a crazy time we live in. It's really fucking crazy. Like, this COVID shit, they got us in some stuff that never ends, like, if they don't want it to. They're talking about masks forever and all that shit. Like, I don't know. Like, I'm pretty concerned about what the next few years are going to look like. And, it's scary times. It's kind of surreal to see what's happening out there. with technology and what happens next. Things are just starting to get to accelerate. Next thing it'll be aliens. Aliens will be the next thing. They're going to introduce aliens and robots. So that's what we're going to have to deal with, aliens and robots. Yeah, this shit snuck up on us. Technocracy. That's exactly what we're in right now. Yeah.
Aliens have always been there.
Yeah, they've always been there, but they're going to actually they're going to introduce them to us now,
Are we ready? Are you ready?
I think people are ready. I think they're ready. Like, who gives a shit at this point? Like, it is what it is. But everything's kind of fucking upside down. Like, it's a very strange time we're living in. Like, and the summer kind of gave everybody a little chance to kind of cool off. Like, even though, like, COVID's still going on and it's still very stressful, the fact that it's summer and you're able to hang out and, like, kind of they loosened it up a little bit on us. We can go outside. There are restaurants. Some states are open, some aren't. But it's not the same as it was. It gave us a nice little interlude where we can kind of forget how fucked up things are. But, as the fall approaches and winter and the election, like, it's going to get crazy again. Like, we're not out of this yet. The whole thing with the election is fucked up. And, I mean, Biden or Trump, right? It's one of those things where, like, if they do mail-in ballots, like, that's going to be a shit show. The government can't do anything right. How are they going to, what are they going to take? 50 million shit through the mail and tally it up? Like, how is that going to work? And, like, who's counting? And I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it's just, like, a very ominous situation. I don't know. I just think that we're in a weird spot and you can't get straight answers. Like, is hydroxychloroquine good or bad? Right? Like,
of course it's good.
Of course it's good. Obviously, the Jews.
Wait, don't say it. Don't say it. We're gonna ban
it. We're gonna be banned. Like, at the end of the day, all I needed to know was Israel was using it and South Korea was using it. Right? Like, okay, like, oh, they're saying it's good. Okay, but Trump comes out and they made it sound like it was fucking rat poison. Right? Like, like, when he first brought up hydroxychloroquine, the amount of articles coming out saying how bad it was because one guy overdosed on fucking, like, fishbowl cleaner, and they're like, he thought it was hydroxychloroquine and phosphate, and like, it was some moron overdosed on some shit that clearly wasn't what Trump was talking about. And there was just like a million articles. If you Googled it, that was the only thing you saw. Some guy in Kenya died and a guy in Arizona died. And they were like, made it sound like it was such a horrible thing, and Trump's got his blood on his hands because this retard did that. And it really made me think, it's like, what the fuck is up with the media? Because at the end of the day, hydroxychloroquine is what? It costs nothing. It's been around forever. It's not some $2,000 pill that Bill Gates owns, right? Yeah, it's cheap as fuck. And it works. Oh, it works in Israel and Korea and China. But when Trump says it, all of a sudden it's evil. And in Michigan, they banned it. They said they're going to take away your license if you prescribe it to somebody. So it was like...
friends too, that's weird. It was like... Because I was seeing it from two perspectives, right? Watching also the news from France.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know and watching the stream, I'm obviously French. And basically the same thing happened in France, and I felt like it was so coordinated because also it was, like you said, it was a drug that's like over the counter, that's like so easy to get. And like all of a sudden, when COVID happened, they removed it from over the counter, and you needed a prescription from a doctor from an hospital that specialized whatever it was. So it became so hard to get from one day to the next, just when we needed it.
Yeah, they wanted people to die.
Weird. It's weird.
It's fucked up, is what it is. And if you watched it happen in live, because we were paying very close attention to this, it's wrong. I mean, it's straight up criminal what's happening, and. CNN had to retract that, but people still like imagine you're in like your family member's dying, but this person watches like CNN every day, and they're like, "Don't give me that hydroxychloroquine," and then they die, like from COVID. Like, imagine that. Like, if you're in that situation because Trump said it was good, and then they made it political. Like, it was so clearly like I'm really disheartened that a pandemic could happen. And it became a political thing. And it's like, who's driving this? Why? And, You
It
really
just
have
made me
to.
realize
You really have to
it's
ask
like,
yourself that.
yeah, you just made me realize that right now they're blaming him for so much death. Where he was the first one to come up with the cure, and people blame it and didn't take it and died because of what you said, following the news, and now they blame him for not taking care of it enough when he came up with the cure first.
Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, and
Really?
yeah, it is weird, and it's like people have become seriously brainwashed. Like I'm somebody that I'm not a racist. Like I can't be, but if I voice my opinion on something like this, they're gonna say I'm like, oh, you're with the racist. You're a Korean Jew. You shouldn't be saying that. He's a racist. And it's like, look at fucking Joe Biden. You think he's okay? So if you say Trump is a racist, then by that standard, then Joe Biden is a racist too. Okay, like just to make it clear, Joe Biden's like a 75-year-old white guy who wrote laws that like destroyed the black family. Basically, him and Bill Clinton fucking totally accelerated the war on drugs, and he was saying shit like the super predators, if referring to minorities and kids in the hood. And they wrote laws with mandatory minimums and were putting black kids in jail forever for nothing, for weed and shit like that, and then making money from private prisons. I mean, this is real. This isn't some conspiracy theory. This is real shit. In fact, Bill Clinton apologized for it. If he didn't do something wrong, why would he apologize? My point is, like, I call it like I see it, and these motherfuckers they're not doing that. They're being hypocrites left and right. So with Kavanaugh seemed like a douchey kind of guy, but he had some woman accuse him of fucking her when she was drunk 30 years ago. And she was a kook anyway. And they're like, it was on the news every day. I'm like, why is this even news? Who cares? Like at the end of the day, like, he can't be a judge. And they're going on and on about this fucking Kavanaugh. He's a rapist. He's a piece of shit. He's getting death threats, this and that. Hey, guess what? They couldn't prove shit. So he's a judge, right? But the way they went so hard for this Kavanaugh, I was like, holy shit, like this guy must be a real piece of shit. And then I watched the thing, and I'm like, I don't know. Like, this, I don't know about this woman, and like this was a very long time ago. And at the end of the day, then you have Joe Biden running. He's got a rape accusation on him, like right now. And they pretend like it's not happening. So Kavanaugh can't be a judge. He's the end, he's this and that. Biden's got a rape, and he can be the president. Like call it like it is. Like if your guy's a piece of shit, then call him a piece of shit. But don't pretend like he didn't do anything. And then whenever anyone brings that up, they're like, well, what about Trump? He got a rape accusation. Like it's like, no, like address. You want to be the one that's moral. You want to be, and you should be. You should say, hey, if you've got a bunch of rape accusations, like that's bad. You shouldn't be the leader of our country. But when your guy has one, you can't pretend like nothing. Just find a better guy. Throw him the fuck out. But it's really strange. Like they don't. It's completely hypocritical. And then the whole thing with the hydroxychloroquine was so blatant that it made me think it's like this is all political, and like people are literally dying. Like the same way when COVID started to happen, because as you know, we called this shit and we saw it happening way before anybody else. And I'm watching everything. I watch all these Democratic politicians. When Trump closed China, I said, about fucking time. I thought he was late. I'm like, about fucking time you did something, you asshole. And all of a sudden, all these Democrats start coming out saying he's a racist. That's what they said. Pelosi, Schumer, all these people. This is racist. And she's in Chinatown saying, come support our Chinese people. Come out. Don't be scared. And then 2 weeks later, she's saying he should have did more. He killed people. Blood on his hands. It's like, this is such bullshit. Like, how do you not see these people are full of fucking shit? And they should, they just shouldn't be they shouldn't be in the office. They're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and all they do is talk shit. People forget that like there was like 4 or 5 senators that got caught shorting the market and selling their stocks. They knew in January, right? What happened to them? They're still in office. Nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares. It's crazy. So, at the end of the day, I don't give a shit anymore. We're fucked either way. I don't know what to say, Shavi. What do I do?
Is Kanye West still trying to...
Kanye, he's not doing shit. Kanye's fucking woke, though. He's pretty woke. And, at the end of the day, it's like... I saw this in 2016, 2017. Listen, I have a very big chip on my shoulder about racism. I experienced this my entire life. I've talked about this before. You know, people called me the gook. What they call me? The kike gook or some shit. It was like I got both kike, gook, chank, stupid Jew. You know, like I got it both. My whole like adolescence. So it was something that I was very, very sensitive to. You know, racism and just like being bullied for that made a very big impact on who I am as a person throughout my childhood. So, you know, I never felt accepted ever. And I was always embarrassed when somebody asked me they'd say, what are you? You know, like, what are you? Like I'm some fucking alien, you know, because they, what type of chink are you? You know, some shit like that. And, yeah, you laughing, you motherfucker. but that when people would ask, "What are you?" It was like my face would get red because what did I say? I'm Korean. At that point, everybody thought Chinese was the only type of Asian. They didn't even know what Korean was. So they were like, "Oh," I'm like, I gotta explain now. I'm Korean. I'm not Chinese. I'm Korean, but I'm also Jewish. Jesus Christ, you know, like, it was awful. It was all like, oh fuck, a Jew and a gook, like. It was a crazy thing, and the point that I'm trying to make is that like racism it really influenced me personally, like who I am today, and especially as a kid. I used to go to bed and wish, God damn it, why didn't my mom just marry an Asian guy, and why didn't my dad just marry a fucking Jewish woman? I would have rather just been one instead of both. Now I'm both. I don't belong to anything. So when it comes to like people are like, yeah, KJ's racist, like what? You're crazy. Okay. Nevertheless, I started to see in 2017 that, like, specifically on social media, it was like people were very against white people. Like on social media, it was like always constantly making fun of white people. White people this, white people do that. Oh, look at these white motherfuckers doing this. And that's fine. We can make the jokes, you know? Like, I find it funny. But if you made a joke about any other race, forget about it. You're fucked. You know, they cancel the shit out of you. So, like, I noticed that was starting to happen. It was, like, not really fair. And, you know, it was so interesting. But, like, now you fast forward 4 years, and it's becoming, like, a crescendo where you have Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B drop a song, and they did a music video, and you have Kylie Jenner in it. And I just heard about the song, and I was like, they were saying it was real raunchy and this and that. So I was like, let me Google this shit and see what they're talking about. So I Google it, and it was like the first 5 articles were like, fans are upset that Kylie Jenner's in it. Why didn't they put a black celebrity cameo in? And it's like, people signed a petition. Why should she be in it? And I'm like, holy shit. Like, people have really gone crazy, you know? So
what is the music about?
It's about pussy. What's the music about? It's
so
called...
It's related to white people.
No. All right, here. Let me see if I can find. All right. I don't think the audience cares. I'm just going off on a mean tangent here, like a crazy tangent. So, you know, I'm just keeping it real. OG Chef says, old dark man as night moon as snowflake. I don't... So Chef is a light-skinned black man. Yeah. I think that's what he's trying to say. Yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy growing up. Like now, like I always say this, like in business, when I was an adolescent, it was something I was embarrassed of, and then at one point I switched, and I'm like, I'm gonna use this shit to my advantage. So I go to a job interview, like, yeah, make sure my chai is showing, and they're like, oh, you're Jewish? Like, yeah, oh yeah, I'm Korean and Jewish actually. Like, you must be good at math. I'm like, yeah, motherfucker, hire me. You know, like, like at the end of the day, you know, I use it. People, they hear you're Korean and Jewish, they automatically assume you're smart. Right? So fuck it. I'll use it. I'll use it to my advantage. You know, but like when it comes to like race and that, as a child, it fucking wrecked me, man. My parents got divorced at a young age. We lived in a town that was a wealthy town. It was very small, and my grandmother died young in a car accident. Drunk driver was driving her to church. Little Korean woman. She had a crazy life, by the way. But she was driving to church, in the van, and the guy was drunk, and he fucking crashed the van, and she died young. So my mom had like life insurance, so they bought this fucked up house in like a beautiful town to try to give us a better life, good school system and whatnot. And she was just making it by. And then my parents got divorced, and we're in this town that's like pretty well off, but like my mom didn't have any money. So especially like when she got divorced, she wasn't working. So she got a job as like a waitress at a sushi restaurant. And me and my brother were young, and my dad he wasn't like supportive financially. He didn't have it. He was fucked up. But he was around. He lived close by at like a spot. But it wasn't just being like Korean and Jewish in a town that was mainly white and not Jewish, but it was also like not having money too was like the fucked up part. Like there was a couple of years where my mom didn't have a car. So like, to like sporting events and shit, I always had to like kind of arrange a ride for myself. But my dad had like this fucked up car. He had like a fucked up Toyota station wagon, but it was like 20 years old at the time and fucked up looking. So like I would go to Sunday school with the Jews, and like they had money, everybody's pulling up in Mercedes and all that. My dad come up in this fucking car. It's like making noise and like smoke is coming out of it. And he used to always wear this like the Crow City of Angels hoodie. Like I don't know why I remember that, but he didn't care about his clothes or any of that or his car. And he didn't look like somebody that had any money. And it was more of like, it's like being second class as far as being quote unquote poor in a wealthy neighborhood, as well as being two different races that didn't have a community for each. It was a fucked up time to live in, man. Like people be like, at the end of the day, I know real poor people that like didn't have food. Like we weren't like that. We had food. You know what I'm saying? Like my mom would come home and she worked her ass off, and like I would make like rice in a rice cooker. Or sometimes I would make, whatever for my brother. Like I remember eating like salsa sandwiches. That was my shit back in the day. I love chips and salsa, but sometimes there was no dinner. I'd fucking put the salsa on the bread and eat the sandwich like that, like a salsa sandwich. But like it was the combination of being two different races and also like being not having the money. Like that shit will make you. But at the same time, it's like as I get older, I'm like, I don't ever want to be like that. Like I have like a major chip on my shoulder, and I think psychologically it's like I have to like be extra because it's like I was so meek. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I should talk to a shrink, but I don't have time for that. So instead I do YouTube and bare my soul. But, I don't know. We're not even talking crypto anymore. You guys still there? You there? I mean, what do you think, Shavi? Yeah, no, that's some real shit though. Like at the end of the day, you can't say like I'm just me, man. This real shit, and I understand. I've seen all sorts of stuff in my life. I've been through a lot, and at the end of the day, like helping people, especially when people are done wrong. So like, when you watch like the George Floyd thing, that's nothing new to me. I've seen that from my whole life. I've seen that. That was nothing new. This whole notion of being woke and understanding that like black people get shit on in America, that's not new to me. I know about that. I know about that. I've seen it. I've lived it. So I've been up on that for a long time. And basically what I'm saying is I've watched people who 10 years ago would say, these people are animals, or people that basically if a black person walked down the street, they would cross the street because they were scared. I've seen those same people now, because they're Democrats and it's trendy, become the woke crowd and start calling everybody else racist. And I'm like, motherfucker, you was just racist. Like you still are. Like somebody like Joe Biden. That's the whole point. Is like you look at Trump and be like, he's racist, but like, what, you think Hillary Clinton's not a racist? Like, for real? Or Joe Biden? Like, by that standard, they all are. They all are. So it's a whole bunch of bullshit, in my opinion. And, fuck everybody. That's all I gotta say. I don't know. I don't have the answers. I don't fucking know. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just know everybody's crazy. And all these people, there's like a bunch of woke motherfuckers calling everybody racist over everything, it like makes it cheap. It's like, that's not racist. You can't call everything racist. You know,
what I've seen lately too is that when you're not like against Trump,
you're racist.
You like they will come up and be like, "How dare you not see what he did and made to this country?" And they will like. I feel like the anti-Trump, there's like a strong, dumb crowd of anti-Trump.
Oh,
as dumb as the pro-Trump.
They'll beat the shit out of you. They'll attack you. At the end of the day, they're gonna fuck you up.
Extreme dumbness.
Listen, man. At the end of the day, like I remember,
like all these people that are so anti-Trump are also the one who were shorting the market and not believing in like Browns and recovery.
They let their bias get in the way. You know, at the end of the day, like that's a mistake. You can't let that happen. You know, just because you don't like Trump, you know, you have to look at the chart and see what's happening and look at the fundamentals. You know, there's a whole slew of reasons why you should have been long, but you know, if you're like, oh fuck Trump, you know, he's not going to get it right, but you know, that's a separate issue. Anyway, yeah, I'm still here. I survived. You know, I wouldn't trade it. I wouldn't do anything over. I don't have any regrets, and you know,
at the end of the day, you happen to be good with numbers.
yeah, supposedly I'm okay. I'm not bad, you know, and you know, when it comes to trading, like I said, the last 2 years now speak for themselves. Let's put it that way. You know, I came back to YouTube, May 25th or May 20. It was like in May, basically. Like if you look at where I made this video. So I made this video. Let's see. I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm going to find out. But
it's very tiny.
Let's see. So, and this was like as hype of a video as I could make, right? This one.
And that came after we were already.
Yeah, 2 months. This is the one. This is the one. The altcoin master is back. Now is the time to get involved with Bitcoin and crypto. That's May 28th. So let's look at where that is on the chart. You know, crypto market cap, total market cap, right?
How is this video not even 1,000 views? It should be like 1 million views, bro.
It's right here. Here. Like, we go from 250 to 350. That's a big move. But, you know, and that's at the point where I'm like, all right, altcoins are good. So if you look at, like, Bitcoin dominance, let's see where that was on that date, May 28th.
Oh, look at what Cardano did between the states.
Right here. This falls off a cliff. This is your alt season, like right here. That's it. Like, so like the timing of that video is pretty fucking good. You know, like at the end of the day, like now's the time to get in, guys. Like everything pumps. You can look at any coin. Look at any coin on May 28th and look where it went. Plus, at this point, this is right here where I long BTC and say get out of vaults. So, you know, if you're wondering why people in the dojo are like, hey, KJ is good, it's because I made the money. Bottom line. And not off of shilling some low cap shit coin. I didn't do that. You know, we put you in the right spot. But anyway, let's see. Chef's glad he's not on the mic. Oh, I hate this fucking alarm thing. It's like this town, they have this stupid alarm. They play this shit at like, what time is it? 10:30 at night. Wakes my fucking kids up. Like for what? It's ridiculous. We pay high taxes. You hear this shit? Like, what is that? And I looked it up. I'm like, what the fuck is that noise? And they say it's because the cell phones aren't always reliable. This is to like let the volunteer firefighters know to come. It's like, motherfucker, use a cell phone or some shit. Why do we have to hear this? This is ridiculous. It's pissing me off now.
Society.
No, but it literally wakes my kids up. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's on Friday evening. It's not fun.
They're fucking ridiculous. Anyway, all right. So we're going on. I'm getting sweaty, and I had enough. Worked myself up. I gotta go cry now. Dug up some old memories, thinking about my dad's The Crow sweatshirt. You know the movie The Crow? Like, he had a sweatshirt, like, from the movie The Crow, and it said, like, The Crow. But it wasn't even The Crow 1. It was, like, The Crow City of Angels. I'm like, what the fuck is that? You know, like, you couldn't even get, like, a Crow shirt. It was, like, Crow 2. And that was his fucking sweatshirt he used to wear. I hated that sweatshirt. Oh, my God. Ooh. My dad used to show up in that Crow, the City of Angels sweatshirt. My God. I used to hate it. I was like, God damn it. Why is he wearing that again? Oh. There was shit my dad used to do that used to drive me nuts. He used to drive me nuts. You know what he did? He for at one point he was working at he's the Jewish one. He was working at a dry cleaners. I'm like, this isn't for Jews. You know, like what? Like
Paris have dry cleaners.
I'm like, if my mom was working at a dry cleaners, that would make sense. But you know. So, but long, you know, he's working at the dry cleaners, and he got me a job. I would work there in the summers, but I remember, like, my dad. He used to make this voice when, you know, like when he was dealing with a customer. He had this fake ass voice where he'd be like, "Hi, how are you?" It was like this fucking voice that, I hated it. I'm like, why is he talking like that? Oh, how are you today? Oh, you know, and they'd be like yelling at him, "You fucked up my order." I'd be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sir." And I'm like watching my dad make this fucking voice, and oh my God, like it ate me up. I was so upset. I'm like, look at him, look at what he's reduced to. I never want to do that. I gotta make money. I gotta do something, you know. So it's like always like all this shit, like kind of was like building inside of me. I'm like, I can never do this. I gotta like figure out something. I gotta be an entrepreneur. I gotta start a business. And even like it didn't happen right away, but like it's like it was always inside of me, and then all of a sudden it just got unleashed. You know, I was always trying these different schemes, not schemes, but like, you know, when I was a bootlegger, even though I was like, it was kind of illegal and like I wasn't making crazy money, I enjoyed it because it was like, fuck it, I'm making money. You know, like I'm making my own money. I don't have to kiss anybody's ass. And then I start to get into the dental shit. And I was making good money, you know, like 6 figures. I'm managing a multi-million-dollar business. But, like, at the same time, I found myself doing that voice, you know? Like, there were times where I had to do that. "Hello, okay, how you doing?" You know, that fake-ass voice. And I'm like, I don't want to ever do that again. Fuck that shit. You know, like, I don't like it. I don't like it, you know? So then I started the dojo and I started trading crypto, and kind of the rest is history. I don't do that voice anymore. But I don't know what made me think of that. But that was the thing that bothered me the most, when my dad used to do that voice at the dry cleaners, and to watch him do it. You know, there's nothing wrong. You got it. That's customer service, right? You got to do what you got to do. But his voice was just so extra. You know, like you ever go to a place that's like people, you know, they're putting on like a customer service thing. They're being nice. But like his was like fucking over the top. It was like one of those guys on the really, "Hey, how you doing? I'm on the radio." You know, like that fucking voice. He was like, "Hey," you know, like, I'm like, why is he doing that voice? And then like on the way home from work, I'd be looking at him like and he's just acting normal, smoking a cigarette and, you know, whatever. And I'm just like, why did he have to do it like that? You know? They fucking did it too much. I didn't like it. Stains. Kids grew up in the 60s, taught to run, duck, and cover in perpetual threat of nuclear obliteration. Yeah, it's all the same. Yeah, they used to have drills where they said like the Russians are gonna bomb you and you go under a desk. Like, what the fuck is that gonna do? Yeah, basically. Anyway, all right. I think I've said enough. I think I said too much. But I don't care. You get to understand the psychology of me and why I am how I am now. But, you know, if you guys have any questions or thoughts or comments, now would be the time. So I'm going to give you a little while. If you want me to, I'll dance like a bear for like 5 minutes. So if you want your charts and that shit, we can do. Oh, there really is a fire. Most of the time there isn't even a fire. But, you know, I'll do my clown act for a little while. So if you want your altcoin TA shit, you know, you better do it now and hurry the fuck up. Because you got about 10 seconds and I'm jumping off this shit.
Chef asked like a few times about Anchor.
Anchor? No, I don't want to look at that. Anchor.
Let me see. Let me scroll on up and see what
Anchor
else.
on Binance. Okay. Thank you. C-Stand, I do it for guys like you. I do it for you. I appreciate it. See, what all I need is like a little bit of love. Like, can I get a like? You know, when I have like 10 likes and like, you know, there's like 8 thumbs down, I'm like, why do I do this? Why am I doing this? Why do I do it? But, you know, okay, so Anchor. Wow, interesting. Interesting.
We have 20 likes for 40 viewers. Come on, that's only one.
Yeah,
or two people
there are
like
people that have been
it.
sitting here watching this maniac talk shit for an hour and you couldn't even like it? Like, come on, man. Anchor is very close to being very bullish. This is a dangerous spot, but, you know, I would keep an eye on this. To be honest, yeah, Chef can do any voice. He's got some voice on him. Like, basically, I would just wait. If you're in it, you just hang in there. Hang in there, man. The shit looks good. If you're not in it and you're thinking about getting it, just wait for this to go. 85. Wait for this. As soon as it gets like, even here, like it's close. Like over 80, starts to get above 80. Like you might as well wait to 85, or you could. I mean, above 80 looks very good. It's close to looking very, very bullish. This one, to be honest. And above 85, it's gonna go higher. Like hard to say how high. You might want to get Masai to do his GAN fan, but I would say like 100 sats is probably a psychological level. So if you went from like 85 to 100, that's a 20% trade. You can make that trade. Yeah, it has connections to Polkadot. Yeah. So this could just go parabolic too. So like if it takes out this high here, this is going to be a very strong move. It can go back up to here. This would be the next level above 100 is 125. So and if it goes above that, then you know there's pure parabolic. So thanks for bringing it up. It's something I'll put on my watch list now. I won't buy it this second. I will not buy it right now, but it's very close to like you just FOMO in. You know, honestly.
In the dojo, Stillman brought it up around 20 sats.
Oh, Stillman got this at 20 sats? Jesus
20,
Christ.
25 sats.
Fucking guy. 20 sats?
Yeah.
Oh, see?
I remember the day we did a stream.
See, look at this. So, basically, this is just... Oh, whoops.
Beside that, it looks like every other chart, like this 30% dump, 35% dump, and then the whole recovery. This looks just like Link or Ren or...
Dude, right here, look.
This is...
It's just very simple. This is the flag. It breaks out. It does this. Again. And then goes. Like, this whole thing here, as soon as it crosses over this level, then it makes another structure, right? And then it crosses over this level. Like, it just... There were so many opportunities to buy this fucking thing. Jesus Christ. Like, how did I miss this? I'm pissed. This is crazy. This did like a 4x from here. This is mad bullish. I missed it. I missed this one. It's super easy. That was easy. That's fucking easy. Congrats to people who hit that one. UTK, we were looking at that at 100 sats. You know? It went to like 1,000.
Nappy is asking about KCS. Oh, you know, KCS, I've seen a lot of chatter about it lately because KuCoin now just max the limit that you can withdraw without doing...
Oh, look at what it did. It did this thing. Yeah, that's good. I like that. I like this. I like when it does this. But it's still kind of... This is pretty gnarly looking, but at the end of the day, like, if it breaks above, it's close. Like that, it's probably bullish in my opinion. Most likely this is bullish now. You could buy this. You could buy it.
And then like good, you know, like the
it can still do this, but like at the end of the day, like
dead grave is waking up.
Yeah, the five, and like coins. There are coins on there doing really well. So you know the fundamentals behind the move is good. So like if you want to be technical with it. This it's kind of your level, like, but you're really like kind of, it's like right at the neckline. So like if it breaks 10,000, like you just know, like that's like really your sign. You know, if it breaks 10,000, it's gonna go here, I think. Like it could 2x pretty quickly. This is like an easy 2x trade and potentially more. Yeah, I like it. Am I going to be looking to get into SRM? SRM. I don't know what that is. It's probably like a Uniswap or something.
In the comments, drop us the KuCoin coins. Which coin are hot on KuCoin? We know DAG, but besides DAG, what else? Luna. What else do you like? Let us know.
So like this structure right here. You see this? Where you have this, like the bottom line. This is a wider range, but it's basically like this. But I really look at like when it gets really tight like that and then it fakes out below and then reclaims it, this is bullish. So from JWN, Nordstrom, like this is your next target, like $21, I think. I think this could go to $21 pretty quickly if it breaks out of this range. So like if it goes to $16.50, you could take that right to $20, $21 most likely. And there's a potential for breaking out of this. But I give you an example. Like cuz we were trading this there were multiple charts. So see? The same move right there. Really tight, fakes out below. As soon as it reclaims the level, it just takes off. This went to 80. It went up here. But, you know, if you compare that to JWN, like that's like here. You know, $40. It could be a crazy options play. You know, not for nothing. You could make like 30x on that if that happens. So we'll keep an eye on it. But, you know, I'm not saying that's going to happen. But, you know, there was a lot of, like if you look, this is what it is. It's really tight range. Fakes out below, reclaims, then it takes off. It goes back to the neckline. And sometimes higher. Most of the time higher. Most of the time that's the bottom. So like on JWN, that's what I saw. So like this, goes back. Now it's back in the range. Volume starting to rise. Interesting play there, really. So your first target's 21. If it goes above 21, then you're kind of looking in between here and maybe here. You know, 32. But if it clears like this, there's a lot of room. A lot of room. You know, and it'll probably be accompanied by some sort of news, right? All right. So, an hour and 15 minutes. I think I'm done. Losing my voice. We've said it all. It was fun. Xavi was completely unprepared and didn't contribute much to the stream. But that does not mean that Xavi... that does not mean that Xavi is not fucking amazing. Like if you're in the dojo, you already know. Xavi could do his own stream and I can be the guy that kind of like, I'll be his sidekick on the next stream if need be. Because this guy is the truth. Xavi is fucking amazing. So next week, I will let Xavi prepare. And that's what we'll do. We'll do another stream and Xavi, you're going to do the stream and I'll be the guy on the side. How about that? You willing? Want to do it?
We could, but like back to back is great. Like I'm glad we did this. I'm glad that we broke the ice, and I'm definitely on board to do more lives from now on.
You want to do another one? You want to do another one soon? All right, you let me know when you're ready. Whenever you're ready, and stop. Xavi's going to cover stocks mainly, but you're going to want to pay attention because this guy called the bottom on Boeing. He called the bottom on the whole fucking market basically. And he's making crazy calls. And the higher low. And Xavi is pretty sick, man. So what do I have? I have Xavi. I have Bitcoin Fund Manager, a.k.a. Korean OJ. Let me know in the comments anybody else you'd like to see me interview. Obviously, Stillman is always a phenomenal guest. The problem with Stillman is he's in Europe. So when he does a stream with me, it's like 3 a.m. for him. So... you know, maybe what I'll do is I'll do an afternoon stream on the weekend, so it's like a reasonable time for him. But I love, you know me, I love doing those streams with Stillman. He's given incredible calls. Yeah, so Xavi's the truth, Stillman. Yeah, if you have any suggestions for other guests, drop a comment.
Someone says I should be the one interviewing a Bitcoin manager.
Oh yeah, all right, Kayla.
I'm not.
I don't think you want Xavi to interview him and not me. Wow. All right. I don't know about that.
Oh, we got 30 likes on the video now. Nice. 30
Hey,
likes
30
and 25
likes.
viewers.
Okay, okay.
That's a very
I'm
good
not a wolf.
ratio,
I did
right?
I did I'm not a wolf stream. You know? I did his stream.
Tell me, when are you starting the new series? Do they know
Oh.
yet? Do they know yet? Is it
Oh, they don't
official?
know.
Is it
They don't
official?
know. Okay, I'm gonna tease it. It is official. You know what? I think I might do it this week. So basically I'm doing a new series, kind of similar, not similar, similar. It's a different flavor, but basically I'm going to do a coin series where it's not a live stream, it's a recorded video. I try to keep it like to 10 to 15 minutes long, right? And it's not going to be like super low cap stuff, but basically I'm going to do like coin reviews again like I did in the old days, but the format will be I'll spend about 5 minutes on the FA, and I call that part like the good, the bad, and the pumpy. So I'll tell you what I like about it, I'll tell you what I don't like about it, and then I'll tell you like what people will look at that could potentially pump this thing. And then the last 5 minutes or even less potentially would be just me going over the chart. And, you know, perhaps maybe the coin isn't at a spot where you want to buy. And I'll say, hey, you know, like this is what I like for the future, but this needs to happen first. So, you know, it may take a few weeks, but when it gets to this price point, you know, that's when I'll start to pay attention to it. But basically, I'm going to do coin reviews. We'll start to talk about the coins that I think that are going to pump. And then I'll tell you from a fundamental or a technical perspective what I think about them. So, you know, that's coming soon. And I already know a few coins that I'd like to cover. But, yeah, look forward to that. I know people don't have time. Not everybody's got the time. But, you know, I see what these other guys are doing. I'm like, it's absolute garbage. They're just reading the white paper and saying, oh, this is fucking bullish. And like, talking about, like, the supply and all that bullshit. I understand. I get it. But, you know, like, I want to be like, you know, really, like, you watch one of these videos, you're like, holy shit, like, this guy's the best. Like, he's so much better. He's so much better, right? Like, if you're watching this, you know, like, you compare me to these other motherfuckers, like, come on. It's the best. We do the best shit. We do the best calls, the best interviews, the best Twitter, the best jokes, the best real talk. Nobody beats this. Nobody. I say nobody. I mean nobody. You know, none of these motherfuckers out here that like to talk a lot of shit. You know what I'm saying? Like these guys, there are guys out there that they won't say what's gonna. They'll say some bullshit and they'll be like, no matter what happens, they're right. You know, if you don't make a call, then you can't be wrong, right? A lot of gurus out there that don't make calls. You know what I'm saying?
Not only we do the calls, but we sometimes give them for free publicly on Instagram, and they all come on.
Hey, AMD, baby. AMD, Doc, all these calls.
Target, Home Depot.
Yeah, here's the target. Here's the entry. That's the call, motherfucker. Just like comp yesterday. I gave it to you guys publicly. What did it do? Okay? There are people that don't believe that that's possible. Well, those motherfuckers are the ones you got to watch because they be talking shit. Let me stop. Value is scarce. Exactly. Go read Jesse Livermore. Go read Gann. You know, there are a lot of ideas. That people try to claim as their own. You know, like they're the creators of it, but then somebody had thought of it 100 years ago. So at the end of the day, you got to make the trades. You got to make the calls. You can't talk